Okay, so you need to either have a Power 3 document in front of you or some sort of tracking. What I posted the other day was the Coach Power Hour weekly checklist. And so the one thing that I've seen in this business is there's so many tools out there because we have so many caring, giving coaches that are always constantly sharing. And so it's so easy for people to be like, oh, I have the Power of 3 because that's what Becky does. And then, oh, Mindy posted this. And then they completely ditch a system. We share these things for you not to have to reinvent what's working for you, but you might find one that you feel, is easier for you to utilize. It's really up to you. But all I can, really impress upon your mind is track what you're doing, because I hear so many coaches who are struggling in this business. They're not hitting Success Club, or they're hitting Success Club inconsistently and they don't know why. And from talking to them or watching them, I can see that they're very inconsistent. But in your mind, you can get so busy and think that you're doing the right things. If you track it, you can actually look back and be like, okay, I'm not a loser. I'm not a failure. I'm not an unsuccessful coach. It was just that this month I wasn't doing the daily vitamin. And so I definitely encourage all of you to track it. That way you can be realistic with where you are in this business. What you track, also you improve, and having a tracking system is really going to help you where you don't end up having people slip through the cracks. I personally use Teamzy, and then as we go through the Power Hour, I'll kind of share my screen here and there. That way you can see what I use. You have to find what works for you, but don't let it be something that you just don't track it at all. Melissa, Chris, do you guys have anything you want to add to that?
So I just echo what Mindy says. If you don't know who you're talking to, it's really easy, like she said, for people to fall through the cracks. I know when I first started, I wasn't tracking, and I would forget about people, and then I would go to invite them, and I'm like, oh crap, I already invited them a year ago, and all this time went through, so now I had to reestablish a conversation with them, like, I didn't forget about you, when in all actuality I did, and it made me look stupid. So if you're not doing that, like Mindy said, there's so many different things out there, and like I talked about in the video yesterday, you might even want to bits and pieces of different ones and create your own, because I've done that, because it works best for me. But get a system, get it in place. One of the things that Chalene Johnson says, and I know all the top coaches are going to tell you this as well, is if you don't have something in place, you're not running it like a business, right? You have to have that organization, even if it's your own organized chaos, have it all somewhere, so that in March, when you're at the 15th, I hope this doesn't happen, but you're sitting at the 15th of the month and you're like, crap, I'm only at Success Club 4. I don't know what to do. I feel like I've talked to everybody. You can flip back and say, well, in January, I invited Christy, Chelsea, Sarah, and they all told me no. I'm going to start with them.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo everything that Melissa and Mindy have said. I am an obsessive tracker. I love it. The more spreadsheets, the better for me. But I like pen and paper best when it comes down to it. And so I just get a cheap agenda from Walmart. I mean, I'm talking like $9. And I make sure that there's a lot of space on each day, and I write people's names down. Now, I've been doing that, but I've also noticed that I'm kind of talking to the same crowd all the time. So I have started Teamzy because it's making me reach out to new people. But I do still write it in my agenda also because I like writing it down. So I kind of have combined those two just so I can reach out to new people, but then I still keep a track. And when I write it down in my agenda, I write down the name of the people I talk to, and if they respond, they get a check mark. If they do not respond, there's no check mark on them, and they get follow-ups on Sunday or Monday, depending on how the weekend goes. So that's kind of how I keep track of people.
Thanks for sharing that. One thing that I talked about, on our intro kickoff on Monday was that, a lot of you are just new coming in, or maybe you've just decided to work the business. And this was something that we weren't taught, that we didn't realize, that it's been through trial and error. But I'm telling you, if you don't set business hours, if you don't get yourself into a routine, and I heard this the other day that, I feel like I have to work the business all the time until I'm successful. It's the same thing as that they said that, if you're an asshole before you get rich, you'll just become a bigger asshole when you get rich. Same thing as Rachel Cruz said on the Success Club, call a couple weeks ago, was that if you're bad with money, whenever you get money, you're just even worse with a bigger amount. The same thing is when you do with time. If you're not managing your time now, and if you're not in a routine, don't think that when you're successful or whenever you're crushing it each month, that it's going to automatically, you're going to set business hours. Don't let the business run you. And, you know, like Melissa said, that, you know, all of this doesn't happen by accident. Success happens, you know, on purpose, and you have that ability. So we're letting you know, learning from us, you know, I'm disorganized and I'm having to get myself organized now. And, you know, 5 years in, it's kind of hard. So if you're just starting off, you have the perfect ability to set yourself in a good, you know, pattern, a good habit. And I love what Chris said. I've never thought about that. Like on a certain day, do follow-ups. I just kind of still fly by the seat of my pants and run my tracking system. So it'd be really good if you did have that certain day that you sat down and you did your follow-ups. That way, you know, you went through it. And then that way, you know, another thing that I talked about on Monday is that having this, you know, treating it like a business and balancing your time right is going to help with your family life. Because if you're constantly working, if there's no structure, if there's no pattern to your business, you know, that's going to be chaos for your family. If your family knows that, like, hey, I'm working my business for 2 hours on Sunday to do my follow-ups, you know, your husband or your wife or somebody can take the kids, you know, so get yourself into a routine now and treat it like a business. Because obviously you've heard from Becky, you've heard from me and Melissa, and we've been in this business, you know, 3 to 6 years or 7 years. And, you know, we want the same thing for you. That is what this group is for. It's not just about getting to Diamond, but it's creating lifers and helping you help people have the same experience. So, with that being said, does anybody?
And I was going to just.
Good.
I was exactly what Mindy was just saying, as far as you're going to learn probably 3 to 5 different styles of doing things, guys. My suggestion is, if you are like Mindy and I, where you fly by the seat of your pants, is that you develop a ritual now. Like, I have so many different alarms on my phone to remind me and keep me on task. Because if I don't, I am going to go in 14 different directions. I am going to get stuck scrolling my news feed when I should really be doing Power Hour or working out or whatever it is, or writing in my gratitude journal. So figure out what that is. And for me, I'm like Chris. I am not tech savvy. You guys learned that yesterday when I had to do 3 different videos. So I use pen and paper as well. And you put it in a book. And you keep yourself organized that way. It may not work for somebody like Chris and Becky, who are very spreadsheet and computer like savvy. For me, this works. And I mean, clearly 3 years later, something's working. But just like Mindy said, I did not do this in the beginning. It was a task to me. Now it's like I get excited because I know that I get to go back and have conversations with people I've started those conversations with, and I actually know who they are. I'll put little notes by their name of who they are so I can remember if we're not talking every single day. So that's it.
All right. So we're going to kind of go over the 4 vital behaviors. So have you done your workout today? I just got mine done before. So whatever you have in your tracking, put on there that you worked out, you know, and that part of tracking is something that you feel accomplished, you know, so track that you worked out. How many of you have done 10 minutes or 10 pages of personal development yet? I haven't yet, so I'm doing that as soon as we're off of this call. All right. So the next thing is we want to make sure that you are connecting with 3 people a day, at least. So with that being said, you can start, you know, if this is something that's uncomfortable for you, if you're new, this is what I suggest, is that you go through your, go to your Facebook page. And if you go to your profile, I don't know if you can see that, there's my profile. You scroll down a little bit and then it says about, photos, and friends. I mean, at least from an iPhone, it does. It not from yours, so I apologize. But then you can see once I got there, I don't know if y'all can see this. There's all my lists. So this is kind of something that I suggest is go through your friends and go to their page. So like it's obviously going to start with the A's. If you don't feel comfortable with just reaching out and messaging somebody, then click on their page, then scroll through their profile, through their latest pictures, their latest posts. And there's a formula you follow. It's a comment on a picture, comment on a post, and ask a question, or comment or like a picture, whatever. But do something to get them engaged. And the thing is, these people, you know, we're not going to have everything in common with every person that we meet, But you can find something that you can start a conversation with. And so the thing is, somebody that you go to their page, they may have a sweater that you would never wear, but it looks pretty on them. Or, so you can make give them a compliment. So that's something that if you're not used to going out and, talking to somebody in a message, start off that way. So that way, another side of this is whenever you're commenting on their stuff back and forth, you're taking an interest, you're going to be forced to look at what's going on in their life, to know what's going on in their life, and to, spread some positivity on them. And then when you start interacting on their page, with their actual posts, then you're going to show up in their news feed, because Facebook's going to say like, oh, these people are real life friends. They're not just friends on Facebook. They're actually interacting. So your posts are going to start popping up in their news feed. So Melissa, do you want to set a timer for like maybe 10 minutes for us to do this, and then whoever wants to pop in and share something can along the way?
Yep.
All right. You got 10 minutes to connect with 3 people. And you can always, like yesterday, somebody had a real, it was negative, but she was like, I'm at my wit's end of, what's going on in my life. And so I just messaged her. I don't know what's going on with you, but I just want you to know that I'm here for you and to hang in there, and I'm sorry what you're going through. So there's some posts that you may see that you might not want to contribute to the negativity, but you may want to just let them know that, hey, I'm here for you and I care. And that's all. When people post stuff like that, that's all they're looking for. They're venting. They're looking for somebody to give them a word of assurance. So look for ways to start a conversation publicly, and then you can take it privately. So 3 people in the next 10 minutes.
Go. I was muted. We have about 5 minutes left, guys. I encourage you not to limit yourself to 3 if you've already done 3. If you want to keep going, definitely do so. Remember, the more connections that we make, the better. Ashley had a question. It says, what if we have people that are new friends and we want to talk to them and we don't know they're not from our tracking system? Just start a conversation. Ashley, can you elaborate on that? I'm confused a little bit. You mean that you haven't talked to them before?
No, I mean, you guys said, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
You guys said go to your Facebook and find friends, but I have friends, like, this is my tracking system. Like, this is what I did, like, the other day. And these are all my new friends that I have to talk to. And I know they're new friends, and I want to talk to them instead and not people on my Facebook.
Okay.
Like, can we do that?
Yeah. Where'd you find the friends though? Aren't they on your Facebook?
Yeah, they are on Facebook, but I have them already organized on, like, I don't have to search for them on Facebook because they're already on my paper.
That's perfect. Yep, absolutely. Mindy, you're muted.
Yeah, I was just giving people an idea if you didn't have a system yet on what to do. I'll share with you my screen on Teamsy too. That way you can see how I do it as well. So Teamsy was created by my coaches, and so here's what it looks like. I have daily goals set. So for instance, I connected with 2 prospects just a second ago and I logged that. What it does is you can click on prospects, customers, coaches, and follow-up. So I go through my prospects and then I go through, and for me, I have it set, I try to do about 10 connects a day, 7 to 10 connects a day. So like Beth Shaw was a person, well, I'll show you what I did in my ICCQ, which is, comment, and question on Facebook profile. And then that, I didn't have anything really to say to her and, in a message, but I'm wanting to just make sure that I'm interacting with people on my page. So I just clicked Facebook and then log connect. And then it popped up to the next person, Autumn Williams. So if somebody doesn't have Teamsy or doesn't have a list already like you do, then that's why I suggested go to your Facebook and then go down alphabetically to have some sort of pattern. But you obviously have a great pattern going, so keep up with that.
Yeah, and kudos on that. That's amazing. Good job, girl. All right, guys. Does anyone want to share what you did during the messaging or commenting?
I will.
Okay.
I've kind of set up my own power hour because my coach isn't really active, so I've had to Google how to do this all. So I hope I'm doing it right. But I actually messaged. I'm working on my sixth, but I messaged 5 people, and I just asked them how their day was and if we had, if they had messaged me when I messaged their the hey, thanks for accepting my invite. I added about that and what we talked about then.
Awesome.
So no one responded, but just to get the conversation starting, I asked them how their day was and how they were. So
That's great. That's a great conversation starter. Open-ended questions are really big. Does anyone else want to share before we move on?
So I jumped on late. I don't know if y'all mentioned the like birthday thing yet. So that's what I always start with, is going to my friends' birthdays and messaging. Usually the women that I like know a little bit, and ask them how their birthday's going. And I also work from my friends that accept the friend request. I send them a message and say, like, ask them if they went to the same college that I go to now. So that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So now we are going to move on to our next section, and this might be in a different order than you do normally, but we are going to send out between 3 and 5 new friend requests. And if you're questioning where you find your friends, normally what I do is I'll look in the suggested friends area. And if you click on friends, there's a section that says suggested, and it'll say that you have 25 friends in common with so-and-so. And if I go to their page and I look and I see that they're a mom and maybe they've shared some sort of meal recipe or something about makeup, something that I could connect to, I will send them a friend request. If I see that they're in workout clothes and obviously not friends with 50 other Beachbody coaches, that's a big one. You don't want to be messaging all the same people, because then you are going to run into issues where you feel like your market is saturated because you're only friends with Beachbody coaches, right? So figuring out ways to connect with the people on your friends list and how you think that they would connect to you. So let's put 5 minutes on the clock and go send out 3 to 5 new friend requests. And you also want to be writing these names down as well, guys. So it looks like some of you guys are sending messages when you send out friend requests. I actually did my power hour this morning. So I also sent out friend requests, and I just took this an opportunity to add 3 more. And then Tabitha said most of the time they will bring up my journey because that's all I post about. Okay. What I personally do, and Mindy, you can share if you do something, or Chris, you can share if you do something different, is once they accept my friend request, I will send them a message telling them who I am, what my intention for the friendship is, and what they can expect to see on my page. And at that point, they're probably going to be like, yep, we can remain friends, or nope, I'll delete you. So that's what I just do personally. If you send a message at the same time, that's okay as well. I just found that a lot of times people won't see that message until after they accept your friend request anyways. It'll come through as like a pending request message or something. But I don't think that that either way is wrong.
So I'm going to share my screen here too. I know a lot of people have, here's all the time, I've exhausted my warm market. I don't know anybody. So, it's so easy to feel like you've drawn a blank or you went through all your Facebook friends. So if you go into your Coach Online office, go to news and training, and then training, and then you click on training library. If you go scroll down and go to the finding and attracting customers, and then you click on the memory jogger, this is going to take you to a sheet where you can find like different categories of people that are in your life that you may have forgotten about or, not thought about, and then jot down their names and that you've not connected with on, can y'all see that? But anyways, it helps you build your contact list. That way, you can go and approach those people. So another thing that I do as well, whenever I am reaching out to people, so this is the system I follow. I will send them a friend request. Whenever they accept my friend request, I will go to their page. I don't even know who I could do. Somebody's already on here. Okay, I'm gonna go to Chris Lewis. So what I would do is I have a certain system, because this is good for if you're inviting them to event invites for like free clean eating groups or something. You're wanting to keep this separate. That's also why I don't accept any coach friend requests, because I'm trying to figure out who's who. I leave all my space open for people in the future. But what you can do from your phone and from a computer is click on the friends. Once they're friends, and the first thing I do as soon as I see that they accepted my friend request is I add to a list. So obviously Chris chose Beachbody because she's somebody on our team. But I will go in and I will add them as, like, if they're a customer lead, I have one set up here for customer leads. I have some coaches that have canceled in the past, their customers that I'm trying to build relationships with because I'm now their coach. I have one for prospect. And then like Team Relentless, the coaches that are on my team. So that's a way for me to be able to remember, because I have 5,000 friends. I'm trying to keep track. And when I started off, I had like 200 friends. So you obviously can work up there. But then I also send them a message that, is like saying, hi, thanks for following me or accepting my friend request. I love, connecting with other moms. I'll say something like, we have tons of friends in common or something. Or for me, I search groups. So I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I'm a Korean adoptee. So I go to those groups. I'm 1+ years sober. I'm in sobriety groups. So I try to find people in those groups too. I don't just automatically send them a friend request, but I, interact with them on their posts. I like them. I add feedback. So, find groups of people that are like yourself. If you're a runner, if you're a paleo person, if you're run a daycare, if you're like somebody said the other day, there was a German Shepherd Facebook group. I didn't even know that. I'm not going to join that group, but there's certain things like that. So figure out what your interests are and find that. There's some local meet and greets, or meetups for moms or whatever in your area. Get in that group. But anyways, that's how I kind of find those people. Like, I never have a problem with adding new friends, and not everybody is going to accept your friend request. And like Melissa said, some of them may accept it and then figure out who you are and be like, yeah, nope, and then delete you. So that's why you have to constantly be adding to your friends list.
Yep. Ashley, did you have something?
Yeah, one of my target, well, two of my target friends or market is young girls and cat moms, and somehow I started friending mutual friends, and somehow I accidentally got a ton of mutual friends who are cat moms. And now it's just like the conversations come super easy, and it's like, oh, well, how many cats do you have? And oh, well, I want to get this cat. And it's like, it's once you find your target market, it's like you don't have to force the conversation. Oh, and here she comes right now. There she is. You need to get off.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry.
Yeah, once you find that commonality with somebody, it's easy to have a conversation with them. When you know nothing about them, then it's weird. Like, then it is, like, because people say it feels so awkward, and it is. I mean, if you have nothing in common and you're just going towards them to target them because you eventually want them to be your next rock star coach, try to find something that you have in common. Go find, if you're a mom, find your kids' teachers on Instagram or Facebook. Find other moms, if your kids play sports, talk to them in person, and then get them on social media. One of my coaches, he had major knee surgery in September. And so, he's built a relationship with his physical therapist over the last couple of months. And I was like, get her on Facebook, I'm like, you talk all the time. She knows your story. She's, helping you out. And a lot of times when you get people on social media, they may not be your next challenger. They may not ever be your challenger. They may not be your next rock star challenger, but they may lead you to somebody. Like for me, a mutual friend I had is how I found Becky as my coach. The guy that I was talking about, Brandon, who had knee surgery, I had friended a stranger who had followed my fan page years ago, and we built a relationship. She's never bought a single thing from me. She's not tried Shakeology, but when Brandon was in a bad place, they were childhood friends, and so she had been following me, and we built a relationship. She said, contact Mindy, he can help you. And now Brandon's like one of my best friends. And then she actually sent another person my way too, who's another coach who's been one of my coaches since I think 2013 as well. So the thing is, these people that you meet, they can lead you to the people that you're going to change their life, and they're going to make an impact on your life.
This morning when I was doing my power hour and starting my new conversations, and we'll get to this part, but just going in and making that conversation because I can tell you, starting at 450-ish friends and now having like 3,800 friends, I don't know everyone on a personal level. And so I'll get somebody who I've never interacted with commenting on something. And so going back and thanking them for commenting on, especially if it's a super deep post or something very vulnerable or a transformation post, something like that, that leads into the conversation. And so I did that this morning with a post that I shared the other day. And every single person was like, it's my pleasure. You're so inspiring. I'd love to join one of your groups the next time you have one. And so now I have those conversations that I didn't even really have to create. Like, I didn't have to do a quote unquote cold invite on them because they've been following my journey, right? So it's so important for you to be consistent, like we've been talking over this past week, with your story and opening up and sharing things that people are going to be able to get eye level with you and say, oh, me too. And just like Ashley said, she's finding people who are cat moms and they can relate to her because they say, oh, me too. And so as she continues to evolve her story and shares her transformation and the things, they're going to say, I want to do that as well, because that's how I feel also. So.
And it's so important that you share on social media about your life outside of Beachbody, or if you're going to share your life outside of Beachbody, try to sprinkle in Beachbody with it without pictures or stuff that is, super salesy, but so they get to know you, because you're wanting them to open up, you're wanting to get to know them, but they need to get to know you as well. Whenever you're posting about, your challenge groups and, just kind of sharing it here and there, and then you go out and invite them to that, then they've already, been watching you and leading up to it. And a lot of times when you just message them and they're like, hey, one of my sons, the teacher at his school, I messaged him like, oh, hey, have a great time this weekend. They're going to a concert. I'm like, have a safe time. So I don't even know how to respond back because you don't know. But a lot of times I'll message stuff like that to people, and then they'll send back like, oh my God, you're so inspiring. And then you have that open door, because people are always like, well, I don't know how to invite. I don't know what to do. But a lot of times people are, they're thinking the same thing. Oh my God, I want to reach out to Melissa or Chris or Mindy or Ashley, and I don't know how, because I'm afraid of rejection, or they're going to laugh at me, or, what's going on in your head there's a different version going on in their head. So sometimes when you give them that outlet to come to you, they'll open up.
Yeah, there's a question that just came through. It says, is it weird that I find it challenging to post about me and my life? I will start by saying absolutely not. It's not uncommon to hear. I can tell you it was not easy for Mindy or myself or Chris to open up about any of the things. And I would say Mindy and I shared some very heavy things that most people shy away from even talking about. And it's still not comfortable for me 3 years later. But I know that by opening up those closets and letting those things out, not only one is it healing for me, but it's going to inspire somebody to take control of their life. Whether they join me in a challenge or not, that's not my intent. It's to help serve people and inspire them to take the reins of their life, because that is the mission that I'm on, to serve others. I will tell you, it does get easier over time. And you don't have to share everything at once. Share it, like Mindy said, sprinkle it out there. You don't have to just come out and share every dirty thing that's happened in your life. And maybe you never had anything awful happen in your life. I find that hard to believe, but maybe you just, everything is wonderful in your world. That's okay, share that too, right? Be a light in people's lives. But I will tell you, nothing changed for me until I really dug into personal development. And that's where the light bulb went off, was that I needed to turn my mess into a message to be able to impact people's lives, and that I had a gift to share with other people that was going to give them the courage to take those first steps. So if you're not doing personal development right now consistently, or maybe you are doing it but you're not implementing it, I can tell you it's going to continue to stay hard until you take those steps and you do those things. And this is something I have done this. I've actually went to my privacy settings if there's someone I don't want to see that particular post, because I know it could hurt them or our relationship, or it's something that I need to get off my chest, but I don't want them to see it. I'm not saying you have to do that, but if that's going to give you that courage to block that one person from that post, you can do that as well. Okay, next step. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to follow-ups. So let's set 10 minutes and do 3 to 5 follow-ups. Okay, hold on. Bye. Hi. Hi. Is there anyone in here that's struggling with how you follow up? Because we can help with that too.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think my biggest struggle is like the initial follow-up, like what the hell do I say? Like, I feel like I'm struggle with like the open-ended questions, and like after a coaching sneak peek, I'll ask, hey, just, thanks for coming. Did you have any questions? And then they say no. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not helpful. So I think just like the open-ended questions is where I struggle.
Have you used the Diesel Nation's resources guide or the 5-step invitation process as a way to follow a process of how to reach out to people, or use, like, there's the new Diesel Nation 2017 focus guide? Have you used any of those scripts yet?
I just got, because I'm mostly part of Diesel Core, I just got added to Diesel Nation this past week. So I'm that's one of my things is to go through all of those resources that are posted in there.
So if you're struggling, I do definitely highly recommend that you follow a process because it works for us, especially the 5-step invitation process that you can find under the Coach Online office and training. But follow a process. And if you follow the process every time, then, number one, you won't always have those scripts in front of you. It's going to come naturally. And if you follow the same type of protocol each time, then you're going to have more consistent, results that, if you do it the same every time, it's going to, you'll see what works, and you can always personalize it. And, people have asked me before, did you follow the scripts, from the beginning? Well, I came from the generation of coaches before scripts, so we kind of helped create the scripts. But I always tell people that if you're struggling, follow the scripts because they're there because they work. And then eventually it's kind of like the 21-day fix containers. I don't have to use containers all the time now because I've been using it for so long, but use these things as guides and tools to get yourself into a routine. I am going to post a document right now in the push group that is going to help you with inviting and interviewing a prospect and helping close the deal with them. So hopefully that might help you guys with the I just shared it with my team, help you with that process.
There was another question that came through, and it said, how many times do you follow up until you give up if they don't respond or they keep saying, I'll get back to you later? For me, I don't know. I don't necessarily stop following up because I was somebody who watched Mindy for 13 months before I finally said yes. And even though she didn't have to necessarily send me those follow-up messages, if she wasn't consistent or sending me messages, hey, I saw your energy was low. Have you thought more about Shakeology? Right? I kept posting how tired I was. She had a solution for me. So I would say you don't stop giving up unless they tell you to buzz off, because you obviously don't want to overstep your boundaries. But I've yet to have somebody just completely, tell me off because I'm offering an opportunity. I don't know. Mindy, what do you say?
I met with some ladies. We're doing this small business summit here in our town, and we were talking about that today. And we both basically said that, there's kind of statistics. It takes 8 to 12 times before, exposures with somebody before they actually say yes, because they're building, trust with you. They're watching to see how, much it means to you. There's their own personal demons in their own mind. But personally, until somebody tells me F off, I'll keep checking up on them. Because eventually I'm going to hit them where they've had a bad day, or their pants don't fit, or they're, at their wits end, or some post that I have is going to trigger something in their head. And so, I shared this the other day with my team when I did a call with them. So I had a coach that, she hit Success Starter the first 2 months. The third month, she had a lot of personal stuff going on. And this is why I say track it, because I know she was not doing what she needed to be doing. And I understood why, because she had stuff going on that got in the way. But then she got discouraged. And her and I both talked to a prospect and, message her. And this person was not ready. You could tell that, she wanted to. If somebody reaches out to you, they want to. And there isn't anybody out there who doesn't want to be healthy or fit or happy. That's ridiculous, to think that they're not. But she wasn't ready. Well, then that person, was the only person she focused on that whole month. Well, then she didn't hit Success Club, and then she just gave up. She just gave up. She stopped posting. She stopped doing stuff. She just said, I suck. That was so discouraging. I didn't get to go to Summit, because she didn't get her free ticket, just excuse over this one person. Well, it's almost a year later that this person reached out to me a week ago and said, I'm ready. I am ready. I started a boot camp here in my town. I lost a few pounds, but now I'm ready to tone up. I want to do your program. I want your workouts. And so the thing was obviously that person wanted to prove to herself that she could do it. She obviously needed some motivation outside of, me. And so whenever I saw that she was going to boot camp about 6 weeks ago, I encouraged her, way to go. So awesome. And so here's the thing is, don't let these no's detour you where you just stop. Because the thing is, those people have that desire and they've got to work through what it is. They want to see some consistency. And I guarantee that if that coach had stayed posting, had stayed sharing, had stayed on her own journey, had been consistent on there, when that person decided that they were ready to get, to commit, they would have went to her. But you know what? She's nowhere to be found. I'm still the one posting and showing up every day. So make sure that you remember this, is that it's not that I'm better than that coach. I just show up every day. And so don't let those people deter you from your own journey, and don't get so wrapped up into one person where that's the only person you're working with all month, because it's not about you. A lot of times it's them. They're bad with their finances. There's, confidence issues, their spouses in sports, and you don't know what's going on in their life. But don't put all your eggs in the basket over one person. Hope that answered you. That was long-winded.
So the follow-up question was, so if you sent them their link to purchase challenge pack and they don't get back to you, how do you keep asking them about that? Normally what I'll do is I will just send a message. If I notice that they hadn't done it that day, I'll send a follow-up either that evening or the next day and say, I just want to make sure that you got set up properly. Were you able to get an order number? And if they're like, oh no, I didn't, or they don't respond, I'll even send something a couple days later that say, I understand that it's probably been a busy weekend for you. Is there a day next week that you and I could catch up? Because I know how important this was. Because during the conversation that I'm building with them, I'm getting to understand why they want to do this, so that when they stop talking to me, I can tie it back to that, right? And I'm not going to call them out and make them feel bad, but I'm going to tie it back to their why that they may not even realize is their why yet, but I'm going to ask them questions to connect the dots back. And I'm going to continue to be a friend to them and build that relationship. And if it's not the right time for them, that's okay, but I'm still going to follow up with them. And eventually, 9 times out of 10, the people who want that link, there's something holding them back. And you can even flat out come out and ask that and say, you and I had talked and it seemed like you were ready to go. Is there something that happened that I could maybe clear up for you or I could help you with? And they might message you back and be like, no, we just had all these bills come through and I can't afford it this week. I have to wait 2 weeks. Or I rethought my finances and I'm going to try it on my own for a month. Perfect. Let me add you to my challenge group so that you can see the type of community that you're going to be supported by. People are sharing recipes in there. On Saturdays, they're going to share the results and things like that. So I hope that helps.
I also will say, I'm busy. Like, I don't like to stop what I'm doing, and they're just as busy. And so sometimes, I'll just say, something to the effect of like, my challenge group is starting next week. I saved you a spot. Are you still interested? And if they say, yes, I am. I've just been busy. Then I'll say, would it be easier for you to send me your information and I can process the order for you? That way you don't have to wait any longer. And you know how many times people have been like, yeah, they'll send me, and I'll tell them, text me your information. Then I'll send you a confirmation and then I'll delete all the information. That way it's not on my phone. And so many people are like, yes, thank God, because they just don't want to mess with it. I mean, people are busy. They're lazy. They're not tech savvy. It's difficult from a phone to place an order. I do know that. So people always assume like, oh, I hear this all the time from coaches, oh, they're a flake or they fell through or they're this and that. And you don't know. And that's the one thing that I hope to impress upon any coaches I work with is that stop judging people and thinking that you know why they do things, because you honestly have no clue. And when you're coming from, a gracious heart and a kind place in your life, go and try to figure out how to help them. And if you really want to, close that sale, help these people. And if you really care about helping them, achieve their goal, you're going to find whatever way it is to make it happen for them.
And I think back to, there's been times that I've ordered things through other MLMs like Unique or Rodan Fields or any of those, or whatever the Sensi thing. And I have been that customer where I'm like, sure, yeah, send me your link. And then I get busy and I don't do anything. And then they're following up. And sometimes it's even needing a little bit more information to really understand what you're getting. And sometimes it's asking them, did I do a well enough job to help you understand the value that's going to be packed into it? And there's been times where I've told those other people that, $39 on a little cube of Sensi stuff, like that's not in my budget this week, right? And because it didn't add value to my life. So that's what we need to be doing is painting that picture and hitting on those pain points that they've already told us that they have in their lives, to be basically talking about why this solution is for them and why they can't afford it and how we've struggled with those same emotions and feelings before as well. So I hope that helps. Let's move on, guys, because we are running shorter on time. So the next section is sending. I have more than this, but I would say let's do 3 to 5 invites. And my recommendation is that you have a place on your computer or in your phone that you have a list of invitations that you use. Maybe this is a cold invite. I heard something on a call the other day that anytime somebody accepts your friend request, they're no longer in your cold market. They're part of your warm market because they are on your friends list. So stop calling them your cold market. Get to know the people on your friends list. And so sending out a message saying, hey, Tabitha, next week I'm starting, or in 2 weeks I'm starting my next challenge group. I have 10 spots available. I know that you have made a couple posts about getting fit this year. I wanted to see how your New Year's resolutions were going. Would you like more information on how you secure a spot? Keeping it simple and open-ended question, and not saying, and you get X, Y, Z, because that can be information overload. And if somebody sends me a 3-paragraph message and I'm already busy, chances are I'm not going to read it. And when you make it more conversational and keep it light, they're more comfortable responding to you.
So I sent this message out to people yesterday that I was, kind of following up with, that had said no in the past, or, had expressed interest, and then, I never heard back from them. And this can be kind of, revamped for people that you've never reached out to. But I just said, hey, Brittany, how are you? How's 2017 going? I hope it's going great. I wanted to check back in with you since the last time I hadn't heard back from you in December. I wanted to reach out to you about my upcoming challenge and accountability group. One of the most important aspects of my groups, even above weight loss, is the mental breakthroughs that occur. There are many ways to get results, but only one to keep them, and that's by making a shift in the way you think about nutrition and exercise, and most importantly, the way you think about yourself and your potential. Would that be something you'd be interested in? And actually, some people were like, oh my God, I forgot to respond back to you, or like, yes. One person's like, yes, I do. I'm interested in this group. And she was like, well, do I have to drink Shakeology? And then that's when I invited her. I'm like, you can, join the free challenge group and just watch. I told her about the 30-day Beachbody on Demand. In my groups, we have, meal plans and recipes and support. And so if you can get people in to your groups as free customers, where they see what's going on there, and they see that everybody's drinking Shakeology, or there's that button to log the Shakeology there, that they'll be apt to. And I saw that Ashley said, for the life of me, I can't find anyone that is ready for an invite. So my question, and I'm pretty blunt, is how do you know that they're not ready for the invite if you haven't talked to them? You never know what people are going through. Don't ever make a decision for people if you've never had a conversation with them. I know that it was, the end of January of 2012, where I was silently suffering with my marriage, with the way I felt, with, being overwhelmed as a mom. I hated the way I looked. And then that's when I found Becky on Facebook. I, stalked her page, followed her, and she reached out to me and said, hey, if you have any questions about health or fitness, let me know. And I was like, I don't need anything. And then it was like 3 days later, I said, oh, does P90X really work? And then that's how the conversation got started. So, you don't know if people need the invite or not. And they may not accept the invite. They may not be ready to do it, but you've planted a seed. And then if you're still there a year later, or a month later, or in my case, 3 days later, then they're going to turn to you. So just don't ever make an assumption that somebody needs it or doesn't need it. With our opportunity, what I found is when you listen instead of talk and find out what's going on in people's life, you can figure out what void is in their life, and then you can share with them what we have to offer can fill their void. Like for me and like Melissa, we're here really for the camaraderie, the love, the fellowship, and then like I was talking to the ladies that I met with today, like it was her and her mom, and they were talking about her sisters getting married, her other sister, and all the stuff that they do together. And I'm thinking, like, if I'm going to present the coach opportunity to them, they're not going to give a crap as much as I do about having this, brotherhood, sisterhood, this community, because they've already got that going in their life. They have that, family bond. Not that they couldn't, not that it wouldn't enhance their life, but that would not be where I wanted to lead with it. They were telling me that, this one person had already reached out to me, but her sister is just got engaged and is getting married in November. So I've been talking to them. So once you hear those things in conversation, that's when you're like, oh, hey, you got a wedding coming up in November. I have a clean eating group. Let's get you started there. And then a Shakeology group, and then a paid group, and so that's the thing, is making sure you're listening to people and finding out where the need lies in their life.
And I would say once you get through that invitation process and they're ready to commit, the other thing also that you might even want to do is do a pre-phone call and just get somebody on the phone. Like Mindy said, you're able to connect with them and hear parts of their stories. That way you can continue to elaborate on that. But I can tell you that one phone call that I had with Mindy after 13 months, that changed everything for me. Because now I had a human that wasn't only this, to me, she was like this celebrity on Facebook who was inspiring me, and I wanted to have the things that she had, and now she was on the phone with me and telling me that she believed in me and that I could do it, and I hadn't even done anything yet. Guys, I actually purchased a challenge or a sample pack from another coach after I told her that send me it, and then I was like, oh, sorry, I got one from a local coach, right? But she didn't give up on me at that point and say, well, screw her, she went through someone else, she can just go to them. And we got on the phone, and that was a big changer for me. And I mean, how many times can you say you get on the phone and cry with strangers, right? And here we are 3 years later, it's been 4 years, because I watched her for over a year before I got started. But you never know the impact that you're going to have on someone's life. And there's going to be so many people that come into this business and they tell you that they want to work the business. They're going to lose 50 pounds. They are, and then they come and they don't do anything. Don't be frustrated with yourself. It happens to everyone. I can tell you it happens to me. It happens to Mindy. It happens to Becky. It happens to Christina. But if you keep consistent, like Mindy was talking about earlier, and you keep showing up, when that person's ready for that mental shift to change in their life and you're still there, guess who's going to be there to help them, right? You are. And I can tell you there's people on my team like that. And when you're going through your power hour, make sure you're going in and you're logging into your back office and looking to see who your free customer leads are and that you're reaching out to them. Because I have a couple of people who I have really strong relationships with now. One of my girls is a coach on my team, and she's been with me for over a year now. And she's had some massive wins in her life. She's an Emerald coach. She has made a little bit of money, but where she is mentally is a completely different space. So it's uncomfortable, but over time, the more that you do it, it's going to be more comfortable, and it won't feel like a script that you're sending out. Which script, Ashley? The one, did I do it today?
Oh, posted the invite.
If it was today, it's either in the team page or in the coach base training.
Huh? Where did you post it?
Oh, she's asking. I shared something with the team today, and she's asking where I posted it. It was just an invite script.
And I just put a document in the document section of the push group. And, getting on the phone is so important, because you can hear your belief and your passion and your intensity and your emotion, because so much is, not conveyed through text or messaging. And I found that if you're in a rush on a power hour, or if you talk to a million people, you end up condensing it and you kind of leave out that emotion. So when you get people on the phone, I found that if I get people on the phone, I can close them in 30 minutes instead of like weeks of back and forth. And I actually was on a call with somebody the other day, and I recorded it and posted it in the push. It's like 8 minutes. So, watch it and kind of see how, my tone, what I share, because that person, I closed it. She has a All Access Challenge Pack. She actually texted me today with with her first Shakeology that she drank. She's posting in the Challenge Tracker app. So the thing is, I got her excited. I set her up for success. So listen to that if you are nervous about what to say on the phone. And the thing is, I was nervous. I remember the first time I talked to Melissa on the phone, I was nervous. And I secretly hoped that she would cancel on me, because I still do that every time I have a call with literally a coach. or a prospect or a customer or a meeting with them, I always secretly hope that they cancel. I know it's stupid, but I mean, it is what it is. So think that, don't think that 5 years in that you're not going to struggle with the same thing. It's, it is a struggle.
One of the time-saving tips for you mamas out there, and if you're commuting to work, well, I'm not condoning using your phone and driving, but whatever, is voice to text. Or not voice to text. Don't use voice to text. It fails me every time. The voice recorder. Because then they can hear your voice too, but you're not actually on a phone call with them. Because I'm the same as Mindy. I'm like, oh God, I scheduled this call and I don't even know this person. But once you get on the phone, you're completely fine. But the voice recorder, it's like a walkie-talkie, and people can hear me get excited. I can share way more. Voice to text fails me every time, and I always have to message back and apologize for my crazy message. So that is a time saver, but also it builds that connection, so that can speed up your power hour as well. And like I said yesterday, guys, work in pockets. When I worked full-time, I literally would work anytime I had an ability to, but I also had to have some sort of balance, because my husband in the beginning did build up that resentment that I was always on my phone, so I had to communicate those goals with him and let him know I had to get up before the kids got ready for school. I had to go do it after they got to bed at night. And I still do that. I've been up since 4:30 this morning working. So, and my husband's gone this week, and my kids are on ski week, and I have a toddler. So it doesn't get any easier. You just figure out ways to do it. And I don't feel guilty for it, because if I wasn't doing this, I'd be at work and they'd be at daycare. So
when I worked full time, there's always ways around it. Like, I would log into Hootsuite, and I would post all my posts through there. So I don't know, I haven't used Hootsuite in years, but it wasn't blocked at work, and I wasn't on my phone. So Hootsuite, you could open it up and you could actually see the feed. So I could still like posts and stuff from there and see it. And as I was reading stuff, I could formulate my own post, and I would post it through there, and it would post, and it would say posted via Hootsuite. Even though I posted it in real time, if anybody in my office or community told my boss that I was posting on Facebook, I would be like, it was like scheduled through Hootsuite. I laugh now because it's funny, because my old boss is a coach under me, and his sister is one of my customers. But, that's what I did. Like, the thing is, like, if you want it, just figure it out. I know Chris would email herself stuff and work from there. And for me, I would, at lunchtime, I would like scarf down my food. I would prep it ahead of time. I would use like 45 minutes of my lunch to work. I would use every 15-minute break to work. When I was waiting on hold for companies for my job, I would like dictate posts on my notes section, and then I would copy paste, email it to myself, copy it from the email, do it through Hootsuite. Like, I'm saying, like, I did some epic shit when I was working to fire my boss in 21 months, and I did it. Where there's a will, there's a way. So the people that say, oh, I don't have time, or I can't do it at work, find a way. Like, Chris found a way, I found a way, and we made it happen. And I mean, and you have the same ability. Did you have any other tips, Chris? Because I know you were like super awesome about managing your time and not taking away from your kids in the evening.
Yeah, it was a lot of what you were saying on top of Melissa. I still stick to my work schedule from when I was working. I'm still up by about 5 a.m. Because my target market is still working moms. They're not getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning. So remember who you're talking to. When you open, I work during the day, just like an 8 to 5, but I'm posting at the same time. So I'm posting at about 5:30, 6 a.m. That's when my moms are up. I'm posting at lunch hour, and I'm posting in the evening. Like, don't overcomplicate this, guys. You don't need to be on Facebook all the time. I'm on Facebook maybe, I don't know, an hour or so out of the day, actually working Facebook. You don't need to be on it all day. Don't let that overwhelm you. Think about when you're up, when you're actually scrolling Facebook intentionally, and schedule your posts there. Like Mindy said, Postcron. I like Sendable. I still use Sendable for all my challenge groups and things like that. But if you take Sunday and if you're up, you get up early just like any other day, schedule your post for the week, and then it's done. And you won't be in trouble at work, and you can check everything on your lunch hour.
I'm gonna post a document too about it's that I shared with my team the other day. It's 3 pages of different social media posts, because that's what people say, like, I don't know what to post. I post on the fly. I was guilty of that. Like, I don't know what to post. So here's the thing that you could follow each day, one from each category, and then schedule it. And that's what, Patrick Roman, one of my friends, he said that he really doesn't believe in just posting just shit to have it be out there. But sometimes he'll only post once or twice a day, but it'll be something really good. It'll be something from his personal development or something that he learned in his challenge group. So the thing is, like Chris said, don't think that you have to post all the time. I was a person before Beach Bunny who posted like 8 times a day about nonsense. So like for me, it's totally normal. Like, it's my outlet. But if that's not you, don't think that you have to do that. Like, have 1 to 2 quality posts at the times that your target market could be on social media. And honestly, like Chris said, early in the morning, right around 11 to 1, because that varies around people's lunchtime. And then, kind of later at night, because people are running home to I never really got on Facebook when I was a working mom until after the kids, when dinner was cooking around 6:30 to 7, and then after the kids were in bed, so kind of know your target market. Not that you're all targeting moms, but I mean, know who you're targeted to. And if you work nights, then schedule your posts around those times, But anyways, I'm going to post that link to my Google Drive that has that list of the social media subjects that you can use. Print that off and use it as a guide. I mean, I don't want to hear anybody who's on this call saying, I don't know what to post because we're sharing that, or I don't know what to say because we have all these scripts. This is here for you. Utilize it.
Yeah, and start small. Guys, the first time I post, I didn't even know who this chick was. I went on Instagram and hashtag 21-Day Fix because I was starting 21-Day Fix and wanted to see what people were posting. This chick named Melanie Mitro popped up, and she was posting every morning at 5 a.m. when I was up, and that's all I did. I was like, you know what, she never went to Beachbody for the past 3 years, had no idea who she was. All I know is that she was up the same time as me. She was a mom trying to get her workout in, and I just saw her face every morning. Like, you just need to be there, and find something. I tell my coaches, find something that people will come to your page and know they will see every day. My people know they will see a food pic. My people know they will see me working out, and in between are my kids and my family. So make it so you're missed. Show up every morning at a certain time. Post your supper. Like, you might think it's stupid, but you'll find people in the community that are inspired and got off the couch and walked that day because they saw your workout selfie.
And the other thing I would add on to that is, if you feel like it's salesy, then maybe go ask somebody else on your team to go check out the post and give you some feedback on it, because I know that it does take time over time to develop the language that you in communication that you want to do. Like Chris said, when I first started posting, it shows up in our memories now. And so I'll go back and share that with my team. Like, these were the things I posted in the beginning. Don't post stuff like this. But the most important thing is going to be that consistency, guys. You have to show up every single day. For me, I wake up every single morning and I set the tone for the day, and that's what I'm doing on my Facebook, because my Facebook friends know that when they come to my page, the first post of my day every single day is going to be some sort of positive affirmation or some reminder that you're a badass or something like that, so that they feel like I want them to feel like they can take on anything that comes their way. And then my second post is normally like a breakfast post or a workout post. So it's just, like Mindy said, knowing when you're posting. If you post this amazing post at 11:50 at night, who's going to see it? Don't be surprised if you get 2 likes, right? I will even message my coaches and say, that was a great post. Go and copy and save that and post it at a peak hour. Delete it. And that's to help them. It's not to make anyone feel bad, but just do a check on your Facebook. I did that for a couple of coaches yesterday, and I was able to give them specific feedback to make those changes, because sometimes you don't even realize what needs to be changed until somebody helps you. So it's okay to ask for that support as well. Ask your coach, ask one of the people on your team, ask your success partner.
Well, and another thing is that people will be like, well,
does anyone have any questions before we wrap this up?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, people will be like, well, Chris said this, or Melissa said this, or somebody said this. The thing is, find what works for you, because your audience is different. Your life is different. But the thing is, be very proactive and be the CEO of your own business. Watch your posts. Like, the thing is, don't just be like, okay, I'm following the social media script that Mindy did, and I'm posting at the times Chris said, and then it's not working. Well, go back and look at your posts. When people are commenting, are you responding? Are you liking their posts? Are you asking them questions? Are you thanking them for the support? Are you learning something new about them? Are you, if there's a post that's only getting 5 likes, then you have another post that is getting 20 likes. Figure out why. Is it the time? Is it that your audience seems to really like those topics? So the thing is, like, be the CEO of your own business and really look at what is working and not working, and don't just be like, well, it's working for Chris, why isn't it working for me? Just figure it out, because we have different audiences.
Yeah, and as Mindy, and as you learned Facebook and how your audience is, when I'm building up to a post that, if jab, jab, right hook, where you're jabbing, you're just doing these little posts throughout the week, and you're really going in and asking for a challenge invite, you're wanting to draw people into your challenge group. When I'm about to do a right hook, guys, I post the shit out of my kids. People love my kids. It gets likes, it gets comments, it gets interaction. I'm getting the algorithm in Facebook. I'm boosting myself up into people's feeds. And so then when I'm ready to go for that right hook, I'm in their feeds. They see me. So, be intentional with that. Also, in my workout post, it gets boring every morning. But if I post a picture of my dog in it, like, looking my face, they go apeshit over that. It's ridiculous, but they love it. So watch what your people like what Mindy was saying. Make sure you're commenting when people are commenting. Make sure you're responding. And just be intentional with it.
I see that Sarah asked about presenting the business opportunity to people who are not current challengers. As a whole, as a company, and as Diesel Nation, we are really encouraging people to share the broad spectrum of what lies ahead with this opportunity, but really getting people started off as challengers, because we found that people who just throw into the coach role, they haven't that loyalty and integrity to the mission, to the products, and they don't stick around as long. And I've seen people who do, but our goal is to get them, build that relationship with them, get them in a challenge group so they see how the challenge groups run, get them to have some sort of story. It doesn't mean that they have to have had a huge weight loss transformation or anything big, but have some sort of story that they can talk about. I became a coach 13 days into my journey. So, have that. And then, I always have been rolling people over on month 1 or 2 when they're starting to see results and people are asking about it, when they're starting to see that confidence. That way they're not just stuck in this role. And you really want them to be in a challenge group, because that's how they're going to build their business. And if they've never been through a challenge group, how are they going to invite anybody to something that they haven't had experience in or experience with? And then also, if you're going to set them on their own, how are they ever going to be able to run it if they've never been in one to see how it's ran? You could give them documents. We have documents as a team on how to run challenge groups, but they don't actually have that experience. So I would suggest inviting them first to a free group or a paid challenge group, and then setting the expectations, like the girl that I was talking about earlier that I did a call with. I told her, I'm like, you're military. I'm like, I want you to love this. I hope that you have a great, thing. If you end up loving it, we'll roll you over to a coach account before it ships. And then I told her about the military discount. I told her about how I'd met my coach, all these different things, so that she could see what laid ahead, but not feel obligated. And so that's what I suggest that you guys do, is share your story of how you met your coach, and so that they understand that word of mouth or that social media is something that's going to play into their success. Sierra?
I think that's all I have for now. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap things up, guys?
There was one last question from, I think I'm pronouncing your name right, Sierra, about building her challengers up to coaches. My biggest suggestion to you is influencing your challengers with personal development. Even if it's like every other day, you're posting like a 3 to 5 minute YouTube motivational video, but start getting that in there, you know, first thing in the morning, so it pumps them up. I share with everybody in my challenge groups my login information to Audible, like I gave all of you guys for the push for personal development. But I tell them how, you know, important that is, and you know, some people jump in on it and some don't, but you know, start putting that in there, because I've been asking them, you know, has anybody asked you about your transformation? Because one thing that I found is that you can ask people like, oh, you know, how are you liking Shakeology? You're like, okay. I'm like, are you seeing any benefits? Not really. And then you start asking pointed questions like, are you feeling better in the morning? Are you drinking as much coffee? Are you wanting to take a nap today? And they're like, oh, no. And so I've been asking them questions too. Like, has anybody asked you about your journey? Has anybody noticed that? And then people, because people don't really realize that, especially if they're complimented by somebody, people usually like brush it off real fast. But then I've had people say like, oh, my husband actually said something, or my coworker said something like that. So when you get them to identify that people are watching, then that's when, you know, you build their confidence up.
I was thinking about doing a post about it. I'm not sure how. So it says, I was thinking about doing a post in the buy and sell post, but I'm not sure how to post just catches attention without intimidating. Have you guys ever tried that? Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly honest. I see those a lot, and I even tried it once or twice. I think it comes off very salesy, in my personal opinion. I personally don't recommend it. Mindy and Chris might disagree with me, but for me, it comes off as desperate a little bit, and I encourage my team not to do that. You want to be focusing on building relationships, not just throwing stuff out there to see if it catches against a wall. That's just me. I would save that post for your page, personally.
I agree.
I hope that helps. And the last thing, just to add on to what Mindy was just saying, as far as getting challengers to coaches, I wanted to share a story. So the other day, you know how people's stuff shows up in your newsfeed. This girl that I went to high school with, she's beautiful. She was always athletic. She was a model. She works in UNR as like a lead something. So she's got like 4,000 friends on her Facebook. And she posted the other day and said, I really need an accountability buddy to help me get up every morning and get to the gym. And so I messaged her immediately, and I was like, hey, I saw your post. I want to let you know. Because she was saying how she needs to lose some weight, so I told her about the all access. And so we continued to talk about these things, and she had interest, but she wasn't ready yet. And so guess who's been texting her every single morning as her accountability person to wake up in the morning? So she hasn't purchased anything from me. She hasn't said yes, but she's already asking questions. We're texting on the phone versus messaging on Facebook. I actually have sent her quotes every morning. This morning's was, it was the thing that I did for the push. It was either you run the day or the day runs you. Yesterday I sent her a motivational video, and like, it's building that relationship that, I mean, we had a relationship in high school, but we haven't seen each other since. And now it's building that relationship for the things that we already do, because I'm forming her to not only join our challenge group, but I think she would be an amazing coach on my team. But I'm not pushing her. I'm supporting her in the journey because somebody gave her a free membership for a week or something. So all this week, and guess what? Yesterday morning, she texted me at 5:26 and said, already up, kiss face. Like, it was just a win. And so I want to encourage you guys, when you see those posts, it's okay to reach out to those people. It shouldn't come off as you're, being salesy if they're asking for help. Or when you have those people in your newsfeed who are always talking about being tired, or somebody who's saying, I have to lose that last 10 pounds. Look for those so that you can strike up a conversation, because those are the people who are desperate for help. There was a girl in my newsfeed this morning. Every post on her page when I went, it's not somebody I have a relationship with, but every single post was about depression, anxiety, worry, guilt, shame. Guess what? I sent her a message. I found a quote that I thought would speak to her. I told her I didn't want to be out of line, but I saw this and it made me think of her. Guess what the first thing she did? She said, hey, you're really on fire, and can you tell me about your groups? Right? Now we've been having conversations, and my personal development, I hope today, the post that I shared will speak to her. It's not always about making a sale. It's building those relationships and creating the relationships that I wouldn't have had these friendships or even known Mindy or Chris without this opportunity. So even if you're not making a sale, make a friend.
I gotta go pee, so I am